Shimbuchi.
Yes.
I take.
What's this one?
It's your offering money.
This one is too small to offer in church.
Good morning, my dearest friends, and welcome to this Sunday's reflection. Today is the 32nd Sunday in Ordinary Time, and the theme for our reflection today is Givers and Gullibility. In the short drama that preceded this reflection, we saw how the little boy understood what it meant to give something substantial to God. And so in the liturgy of the word today, from the first reading taken from the first book of Kings, chapter 17, from verse 10 through to 16, and the gospel, from the Gospel of St. Mark, chapter 12, from verse 38 through to 44, we are presented with two widows who demonstrated their trust in God's providence. In the first reading, we saw the action of the widow of Zarephath responding to the call of the prophet Elijah to prepare something for him. Elijah assured her of God's providence, and in faith, this widow gave all she had to live on and her only son for Elijah and herself and her son. And just like Elijah prophesied, the jar of meal was not spent and the oil did not run dry. And in the gospel of today, we find another widow whom Jesus praised because she gave everything she had, though little, into the treasury. So my brothers and sisters, the liturgy praises not just the generosity of this widow, but their trust in God's providence. In the first reading, Elijah was in need. And Jesus tells us that whoever gives a cup of cold water to a prophet will receive a prophet's reward. And certainly, the widow of Zarephath received her reward. In the gospel, this widow, who also put everything she had to live on, was praised by Jesus himself. But my brothers and sisters, why we celebrate the giving of these givers, these two widows? Jesus, in the first part of today's gospel, tells his disciples, his followers, to beware about the scribes who devour the houses of widows. Jesus is also telling us in our own time to beware of prophets and pastors and men of God who devour, who take advantage, who exploit, who manipulate the gullibility of the children of God, of Christians in our own society today. And so, while we celebrate and encourage giving for the service of God, giving to the servant of God, Jesus also tells us to beware of those who take advantage of those who give. It is a message for you and I today. as priests and pastors and leaders of the church, while we, these people of God, care and take care of our needs, we must be careful not to exploit, not to manipulate the generosity of these people of God. Otherwise, on the last day, we shall be held responsible. And for other Christians as well, we should also be careful of the men of God who use us to make money, to store up treasures in this life because of our gullibility. And so we thank the Lord for this holy day. We thank God for the gifts He has blessed us with, and let us use the gift we have to serve the Lord. In the second reading of today, from the letter to the Hebrews, chapter 9, from verse 24 to 28, we are told about the sacrifice of Jesus, who gave Himself, not just what He had, He gave Himself. And as Christians, we are called above all, not just to give what we have, but to give of ourselves to God and to the service of one another. May the Lord continue to help us and bless us so that we will carry out God's will and find favor in God's sight. God bless you.